All right, check, check, check. Do you have me here? Let me test my audio real quick. Check, check, check. Okay, now we should have sound. If you have a sound in there, give me a thumbs up, give me a yes, give me a dude, it's about time, anything at all like that. I'm trying to pull it up over here. It looks like we might have got it. I just want to check and make sure. If I have a, yeah, you're a plumber, not a computer guy. Kelly, you are 100% right. Now we hear me. Jacob Bowling, thank you very much. All right, so I am bringing up the live stream over here. Then, as you see, we're in a different studio today. Kind of what I wanted to talk about, because today we're talking about growing your business, and this is actually where I do it at. Check my notifications here. I just want to make sure that we got things up and running like it should be. First of all, did everybody have a good Thanksgiving? Did you, number one, eat too much? Because, man, I always do. All right, got 10 fours. Yes, good now. Fantastic. How's everybody doing? And I always ask this: are you in the trades and where you located at? And I do that for a reason, because it helps me understand my audience and what they want to do. The cool thing about this is I came up as a plumber, and when I was actually a plumber in the field, I never thought about owning my own business. That idea just it never happened. Even though one of my best friends owned a plumbing company, this is the guy who got me into plumbing. And the funny thing is, I never thought about owning my own. And I say that I kind of played with it a couple of times, but I always did things wrong. I literally, when I opened my first plumbing company, I made just enough money that I could go spend that day and I was good. So not much thought process behind it. I'm gonna jump in the comments real quick. Kel L says, I have a 2009 Bradford White gas water tank. Told I need sensor, no thermocouple, have to light, keeps going out. Is this correct? What brand is good to get? Price and install, how large to do, or how long to do? Kel, here's the thing. We're all different. We all look at it different. I want to make sure I hit this and don't get a ton of sound here, which I don't think that I will. All right, so I'm gonna pull that, so we're good there. So here's the thing: is, and I want to go through this. I'm not sure who told you that you don't need a thermocouple. I would find out what you need. Is it the gas control valve? What is it? So I can't tell you if it's right. You've got a Bradford White. I would call the Bradford White tech people. They will tell you different things that you can go through and do to figure out what your problem is. The other thing is, look, I love Bradford White. I think they're a good brand. Bradford White, State, those are probably Ream, but those are probably the three that do really, really well. But pricing, it depends on where you're at. I know here in the Dallas area, you could probably get that water heater replaced if it's just a straight 50. You could probably get that replaced anywhere from 1,500 to 4,000, depending on what all it takes, what upgrades need to be done. Do you need new valves, new lines? There's a lot of things that could alter that price. So I'm gonna move back over here real quick because I want to pull this up. There we go. Go to my live chat here just so I can see what's going on in there. Mr. Paul Peck, drywall tube is in the house. Look, talk about being a tradesperson. If there's anybody that is interested in sheetrock, drywall, stuff like that, Paul Peck is a great guy to follow. Cool deal. And I don't know if I can jump into it from over there now or not. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. We might play with it here in a minute. So, like, as you can tell, we're in a different studio today. This is my office. This is where, I normally do a lot of my stuff. We've got multiple cameras around here, but we really had no idea we were going live in here today. We came in this morning, went to fire up the computer, and the computer did not work, not at all. But he just got it up. Says we've got one screen up. Now he's working on the other one. Eli Orella says, I know this ain't plumbing question, but who's winning Argentina versus Mexico? And do you think the U.S. can make it to the knockout stages in the World Cup? By the way, hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Eli, I'm not sure who's winning that, but what I'll tell you, United States looks good right now. It looked really good against England, and man, that worked out really, really well. So anyway, all we've got to do is beat Iran, then we're in it. At least then we're in the knockout. So I know. And I'm scrolling past all these saying no sound, mic check. I get it. And I like this one down here. Can you hear me now? Not sure if y'all saw the video we did with the garbage disposal. Will it blend? Man, we had fun with that. So we're going to do a lot more of those. All right. So we do have sounds. I love it. All right. I'm going to jump past all that. Yeah, Kelly, you're right. I am a plumber, not a computer guy. Ooh, lost all my comments. They came right back. All right. So we got all good now. So we're going to jump down here. Ton Santoyo, good to see you in here. Thank you very much. And I'm going to see if I can make this a little smaller on this end. That way the comments get, ooh, I like that. That way the comments get a little closer to the center. All right. Let me scroll back up to where I find that one. Taste Bag says we're good. Yes. 10-4, looking good. There, like I told you, Mr. Paul Peck drywall tube is in the house. Man, I sure was hoping you'd be out in LA whenever I went out there for Vid Summit. Was definitely looking forward to seeing your brother. Paul, what part of Florida are you in? Because I'm telling you here lately, I feel like I've been to Florida probably 6 or 7 times this year. It's kind of wild. Let me see. Kel, could you please answer? I did answer. I hope that gave you. Hope that gave you what you need. Had a good regular day in Canada. I'll tell you what. Look, y'all have different holidays than we do, but man, I think y'all got some cool holidays. And it's funny that around the United States and around the world, we all celebrate things different. And just so y'all know, I'm probably only going about an hour today. We started not to go live, being that it's Thanksgiving weekend. And then we got computer problems on top of that. But I said, look, man, we've already got it scheduled. I'm going to jump in here. We're going to do it. And Kel, yes, I got you. Jim Lowry says plumbing business owner, North Carolina. Fantastic. Jacob Bowling says had a great Thanksgiving. Unfortunately for me, ate too much because my toilet got clogged 3 times. Yes, I completely get it. And Jim says struggling. Jim, here's the deal. What are you struggling with? Because growing a business, you have to understand you've got to work on that business, not in that business. And one of my first coaches was Michael Gerber. Michael Gerber is phenomenal because he looks at what you do and he analyzes it. He says, man, here's your problem. And that's what mine was. He says, you can't be the technician and the manager and the entrepreneur and think that it's going to grow the way you want it to grow. You need to get to the point where you're the entrepreneur and you're working on marketing and recruiting all day long. And that's all you do. So it's hard to get to that point. But Jim, I'd tell you, get there as fast as you can. It will help you. All right, says just started my residential service plumbing business in San Jose, California. Man, good for you. Uh, all right. What I'll say is, how are you making your phone ring? What are you doing? Because when I started my business, I had a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of money. Literally, I just decided, hey, I'm going to go start a business. And I pretty much decided that on Friday, Saturday, and did it on Monday. So there was not a lot of forethought to it. So it's kind of crazy. Uh, and Kelly, I keep looking over at your comments on the live. I'll get to them here in a minute. Tasto Bags is plumbing in Indiana. And all right, that's why what are you doing to make your phone ring? And if you'll put that back in the chat, I'll get to it here in a little bit. Sonola says, I've been trying to talk to you for a while. I called your company, but no one picks up. Well, number one, you may not be calling the right number because the number to the company, we've got an answering team that picks it up all the time. About the only way to really, and look, I don't mean this bad. We do schedule consultations through our website. It's, I don't remember, 15 minutes for $97, something like that. Normally people have just got one or two questions, so we can get through that pretty quick and a little more in depth. I'd say, man, if y'all got questions, put them in here. We don't have the Google Doc set up, so we're not going to the forum today. So, man, I'm just gonna stay in the chat and see what all I can keep up with. And I'm already about 7 or 8 minutes behind. Nicholas says owners take a responsibility for every employee's family. Scares me to death. Nicholas, and you're right. Every time you make a decision as a plumbing company owner, as any residential service company, you affect the life of every person working there. And you do it because it's, man, that you can make, if anybody who starts a company just to make money is doing it for the wrong reason. You've got to have more than that in mind. You've got to want to deliver a better product, a better service. Man, whatever it is, you've got to want to treat people right. Taste of Bag says, I love Bradford. Look, Bradford White's been great for me. I've never had problems with them, so I think it's great. Sweeney Dunstan, how have you? Long time no see. Good morning and chat. Figured I'd come hang out today. Great seeing you in here. John Conway says, why can't I solder before the meter? Well, normally before the meter belongs to the city, because once it reaches the meter, from there on, it's yours. So anything there should be them. Arc likes Ream. And look, we can, man, we can all like different things. It's accessibility in our area. It is what kind of service we get in our area, all kinds of different things like that. Chris Cannon says, moved from California and I want to know, why are all the water heaters located in the upstairs attic in Houston? Man, Chris, I'm going to tell you, I wish I knew that answer. I mean, I can tell you what their philosophy is behind it. And really what it gets down to is that water heater closet, say it's 4 feet by 4 feet, that is 16 feet that the general contractor can sell. Because when you buy a house, you pay per square foot by the square foot. That's 16 extra square feet that the general contractor can sell. I think putting them up in the attic was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Eric says soccer is lame. Well, number one, they call it football, just to help a brother out. And you're right. Soccer is definitely different. I don't watch it a lot, but I was watching a score the other day, just seeing how the US is doing. Nicholas, thank you very much. Tahir says, I'm a first year plumber in school, but I'm a B pressure welder and apprentice boiler maker through local 146. Have a goal to have my own plumbing business. Man, now see, Tahir, I love that, because this is one thing that whenever I work with people that are trying to get into the trades or trying to become a better tradesman, I always tell them focus on your end game, know where you want to be. If you can do that and you think about that every time you learn something, are you learning it the right way? Are you documenting it? You may need to come back and do something again. What is your long term goal? And is what you're doing or learning right now helping you get closer to that? If your long term goal is to own a plumbing company, but you're taking a job working concrete because you can make an extra dollar an hour, it doesn't make sense. Uh, Everything you do needs to be helping you get towards whatever your final goal is. Zimla Muhammad Azuma, thank you very much. I'm glad that you like it. Kel says, I was told by an HVAC owner who sells RUD only. He said his knees are bad, doesn't want to deal with the issues. I'm in Ohio and Lowe's doesn't sell Bradford White anymore. I didn't know that Lowe's ever sold Bradford White. Your Bradford White should, or you can Google it. Google, Bradford White tech or service, give them a call. I'm telling you, those guys are phenomenal. And they're all former plumbers or HVAC techs. So they know these systems better than anybody. Jim, you're welcome, sir. Feel a little like me and my sister got ripped off. Thanks and happy holidays. How, and I'm just asking, how did you get ripped off? Was it the plumber that came out there and told you need to replace it? Uh, Here's my thing. Number one, Kel, and I always ask, how old is the water heater? There are times that if it's going to cost you $500 or $600 to fix it, it may be worth reinvesting that in a new water heater. Replacement's not always the best option, but fixing one isn't either. But one thing that I say all the time, if it's not leaking, chances are you can fix it. Just don't know if you want to. Paul says he lives near Melbourne. Okay. Hour from Orlando. Yeah, brother, I will give you a shot. I've literally been in the last, I'm going to say this year, I've been from Key West to Miami to Orlando to Fort Lauderdale, and I was supposed to be in Palm Beach about 2 weeks ago when the storm blew in. Psycho Killer says, I'm a second year plumbing apprentice in downtown San Diego. Open shop. My dream is to go union, but in the meantime, I need a side hustle. Don't know how to start or get into the market for jobs. And Psycho Killer, I don't know what the licensing is like in San Diego. In Texas, you don't want to be doing side jobs. You'll get in trouble and it'll go on your license. What I did when I first started the trades, I worked as a bartender in the evenings. I worked at a Carousel Raceway, which was a game place, like an arcade. They ended up opening a bar and I became the bartender there and actually got pretty good at it. And then in the evenings and weekends that when I wasn't tending bar or anything, I started working building fences and redwood decks around swimming pools, jacuzzis, anything like that. I knew that I needed to. You're right, Jimbo. I see that. Thank you very much, brother. And I don't know if I can edit it. Maybe I can. Yeah, it's not going to let me edit it from here, so I'm not even going to try. But you're right. Thank you. Anyway, I knew that I needed to do other things to bring in more money, and I was not afraid to go out and get other jobs because I knew I loved plumbing, and as that grew, I could make more money, and it worked out really well. Jacob Bowling says, everyone here in the live chat is different. Roger wants you to do your best, and you don't have to be the greatest, but as long as you can be what you can be in life, Roger wants you to be the best. And Jacob, it's a good way to put it. We should all try to be the very best us we can be. Now, the things that I teach are to teach you how to become better. And to me, that helps make you a better tradesman, a better apprentice. People ask me, how do I get in the trades and make the most money? Be the best you can be. Because if I'm a superintendent and I've got 4 people and it's getting down towards the end of the job and I've got to let go of two of them, I'm keeping the two best ones. People need to understand that. People get mad and say, man, I don't like this. I got laid off. I did this. No, you got yourself laid off. If you'd have worked harder and been better and been more productive and things like that, you could make more money because number one, people pay more, but number two, you're going to be on jobs longer than anybody else. Justice for all in the house. Good morning. And Paul says, hello, Sweeney Dunstan. What's up? Taste of Bag says, I'm struggling as well. I want to scale, but my downfall is knowing my numbers. Job costing materials per job is easy, but labor cost to include all overhead and hit a certain profit margin is hard. Here's the thing, Taste of Bag. You've got to figure out how to break down every ticket. And it's not real hard to do it once you start looking at it that way. And I mean, to be honest, you should review every single job you do. And when I say you, I mean you, another plumber, whoever. But have your call center. What time were they dispatched to the job? What time did they call and say, hey, I'm done? Because that's your total labor in the job. Look at what they charged. What did you charge for material? What did you charge for labor? It's not hard to do. But the good thing is also, you need to check how many jobs are they converting? How many jobs is your call center converting? If my phone rings 20 times a day, I want to book 18 of those calls. I want to book 90%. Is it happening? Well, if you're not tracking it, you don't know. Now, if I send a plumber out on, I'm going to say 5 jobs a day, it's just harder math. If I send a plumber out on 5 jobs a day, he better sell 4 of them because I want him to convert 80% of the calls he goes on into actual jobs. And you do that by giving people great value. It's not always about price. It's about, did you sell the value in what you do? We charge more than a lot of plumbing companies around here, but we do better work. We give them better options. How are you doing it? And how do you track it? Because if you're not tracking it, man, it's tough. It is really tough. It's tough because then you don't know what you're doing right. You don't know what you're doing wrong. But also at that point, you don't know if you're making any money. Justice for All said I had to plunge my own toilet. It does happen. Eric says, new business owner, I'm lost on how to make the phone ring. Just hired an SEO company, not too much promise from any company till after a year of being with them. Eric, I'll tell you what, I hired a guy out of Connecticut and I had met him on YouTube and we got to talking and communicating. I hired him and I got to tell you, he's really, really good. If you'll message me, like go over to LinkedIn, message me through there. I'll first of all, I'll call him, see if he's taking on new people. But at the time, before I sold my plumbing company, I was doing $1 million a year. A couple of other companies here are doing 70 and $80 million a year. And for Dallas, Texas plumbing, I was coming up ranked higher than them, meaning on page 1 of Google, I was listed before them. So it's a good problem. All right. Let me see. Jacob Bowen says, Roger, here's an interesting question. How would you feel the toilets were upgraded from 1.8? How would you feel? Look, anything that we can do to save water, I'm a lead AP. If we can get it down to where toilets flush 0.8 gallons of water and still carry away the waste like it's supposed to, I'm good with it. All Day Gaming says my high school is a trade school and I'm in for plumbing. I heard him talk about PHCC and ABC. What are your thoughts on ABC? ABC is good. It used to be Coin or something like that. I don't remember what they used to be called. I'm probably more familiar with PHCC. I think PHCC is fantastic. Love what they do. It's always been good for me. I've actually gone to speak at a couple of their events. I like what they're all about. Michael Sovereign says, what I hate about the residentials trying to run behind walls. So confused. Do I just cut the drywall and leave it? I would probably do a poor job drywalling. I'm an industrial electrician. And Michael, here's the deal. I always tell people when we go out to work and we've got to open up a wall, I tell them, look, we're not sheetrockers. We're not drywallers. We're not good at it. You don't want us doing it. Just like you don't want Paul Peck fixing your plumbing. You surely don't want me fixing your sheetrock. Although I can watch Paul and figure it out, and he can probably watch me and figure some stuff out too. Sweeney Dunstan, good to see you in here, man. Eli Orwella says, I'm a maintenance guy for an apartment complex. Be replacing two of the three water heaters, almost 2 to 3 water heaters every week. Half, how much would a good base price be to charge when I replace starting your own business? Eli, it depends on where you're at. It depends on what water heaters you're using. It depends on if you're having to pull permits and get them licensed or get them permitted and inspected. There's so many things involved in it that, man, you got to know your numbers. What are your numbers in your area? Do you have help? Does it cost you for help? What's your insurance? What's your overhead? There's so many things you have to factor in, and it's different depending on what part of the country you're in. Mike Servant says, I refuse to do side jobs because of the headaches. Guys, here's the deal. If you do a side job, say you do a side job for a water heater. Number one, if that water heater ruptures, they're coming back to you. They're not going to the water heater manufacturer. They're coming to you because you installed it. You better have insurance. What if you're at work? What if that water heater ruptures at 9 o'clock in the morning? You shut up at work at 8. That homeowner wants you there right now. That water heater is flooding. You installed it. You're responsible for it. But you're like, yeah, but I'm at work. I've got to be here 7 more hours. They're not going to be unhappy. In Texas, they're going to call the Texas State Board of Plumbing examiners. And chances are you're going to get in trouble. Jimbo, I saw that. Thank you very much. What your business was your toughest, and when did you notice a turn for the better? Jim, I got to tell you, it's really funny because from the time we opened, we started doing about $1 million a year. And I made more money the first year or so because it was me out doing all the work. As I started hiring people, it's like I felt like all my money was going to them and I wasn't making money. So what happened was, and I talked to a buddy of mine, the one I told you that has owned his own plumbing company for a long time. He said, Roger, when it's 1 or 2 people, you'll make money. Or maybe when it's just you'll make money. When you've got 2, 3, and 4 people, you will not make money. But then when you get 5 and up, that's when you really start making money. Your overhead is going to be what it is. 2, 3, and 4, they're going to consume that. But once you start getting more than that, now your profit margins should go higher. And another trick, and I don't know how big a company you are, what you're doing, anything like that, but one thing to remember, guys, for every one person you have in the office, you need 3 in the field to support that. And Michael Gerber taught me that. I've heard that for so many years. But when you look at really good companies, they can tell you how many people they have in the office and how many they have in the field. And normally it's a 1-to-3 ratio. I had a business coach tell me one time, if your ratio isn't that, you're working yourself out of business. Louis says, thanks for all the advice. You're awesome. Are you hiring by any chance? Louis, we are hiring licensed plumbers and licensed HVAC technicians right now. And that's Rescue Air right here in Richardson, Texas. Kel says, no HVAC charged $100 just to look and allowed a 2009 Bradford gas. Okay. Another HVAC said it would need a pilot kit. Man. Kel, I'm promising you, I would call the Bradford White technician warranty number, troubleshooting number, talk to them. Man, some of those guys are really good. And I've literally had customers tell me, hey, Roger, I called and talked to them. They talked me through all these different steps. They sent me the part. I just don't want to put it in. So, man, they're good people. All Day Gaming says, watch your video on PHCC. What is your thought on ABC? Like I said, All Day Gaming, I haven't dealt much with ABC. I've dealt more with PHCC. I know who ABC is, and I've heard good things about them. I hadn't done anything. Roger, can't believe it's going to be your last stream for November. This year's gone by so fast, and it has. France 1, Denmark 0. The good thing is we got December coming up. Thank you, brother Paul Peck. Hit that thumbs up button if you like what we're doing. John Moore says, if you join the UA when you're already a licensed plumber, do you start at the bottom of the scale? Curious because it seems easier to start non-union. And John, I did exactly what you're talking about. I started non-union and I worked non-union for 17 years before I got in the union. I got in as a journeyman. Don't get me wrong. They a lot of the old union members treat you like trash. They're like, look, you're a rat. You don't know anything. From the time I got in, I worked harder to outperform them each and every day. It's what I wanted to do. How can I work harder? How can I work smarter every day? But I got to tell you, the union's got some good things about it. So you don't start off at the bottom. If you're an apprentice, maybe. It depends on how good you do in the interview process. Can you tell them, look, I've already got, 4 years in, 5 years in, whatever it is. I have seen them bring in apprentices with 2 years experience and tell them to start at the bottom. So it can go either way. Just make sure you interview really, really well. Tyler says, thanks, Roger. I love your content. We watch it in school sometimes on the projector for stuff, other content too. We watched a lot of videos on valves and water hammering last week. It's interesting for sure. Have to go help my lady decorate Christmas stuff. Have a good weekend, everyone. Here, thank you very much. I do appreciate you being in here. Kel says, thanks for your show. Please keep this show on your channel replay. By the way, Dallas is my second home due to being a stage 1 cancer survivor. Best medical care in Dallas. Well, number one, Kel, God bless you. I'm glad you're a survivor. And I always keep my replays up. We'll come in and re-edit it. So just remember what date that you saw it. But we'll just edit the title and things like that where it shows it's a replay, not a live stream. Just Frost says, Roger picked up a used pipe thawyer yesterday for $55. Man, I love that because I want one of those. We don't get a lot of frozen pipes here in the Dallas area, but when we do, it's nice to have. Jacob says, you heard Roger himself. Don't try to be the greatest, just the best. Just be the best that you can be. Look at Roger. Roger wants to be very best plumber he can be. You want to be a plumber? Don't give up. Absolutely. Jimbo says, how do you pay estimators and deal closers in your company? Commission. Jimbo, what we do, we pay, it's called performance pay. It's like a percentage pay, but the more you perform, the better you perform, the higher your percentage can go. Here's the thing. We got some guys that work great. We got some guys that, well, and I guess right now, man, most of my guys do work great. But say you go to work for a company and it's literally, it's all percentage. And some guys are just going to go out and try to sell everything they want. We got a phone call one time about, and a lady called, says, look, I was cussing and then I turned on the computer and your company came up. She said she had called out her warranty company. HVAC people came out. And when the HVAC people came out, they told her, you have a leak on your gas line in your attic. We can't work on your unit until you fix it. You need to call a plumber. She calls her warranty company back. They send out a plumber. She tells the plumber, says, hey, I got a leak in my attic. Says, okay, I'm going to check everything outside real quick. He walks around to the side of her house for about 5 minutes, comes back, knocks on the door, says, hey, you have a leak under your yard or out in your yard in the service. It'll be 10 grand to get it fixed. I've turned off your gas. Call me when you want to get it fixed and turn it back on. She said, he never even went into the attic. So we sent a plumber over when we were able to get there quickly. We sent a plumber over. He found 3 leaks in the attic, fixed them. He was there 3 or 4 hours. It was under $1,000. There were no leak in the yard. This, who turned out to be not a plumber, just went over and tried scamming them. So you have to be careful. You've got to make sure you hire the right people. If you're commissioned, make sure you're hiring the most honest people in the world. I tell people all the time, if you wouldn't do it at your mother's or grandmother's, Don't do it at anybody else's house. All day gaming. Roger, have you ever watched the Charlie Brown TV specials when I was a kid? 1-to-1 now. Taste Back says we currently do just need a home. We currently do just need homes. They all want lowball plumbers. I'm all about quality, but builders don't care. Currently trying to do service. Now I need to market like a madman. I'll tell you what, in Taste the Bag, this is something that I did. My friend that I keep talking about kept telling me, look, don't work for real estate agents. They're a pain to work for. But what I did is I went out to real estate agents and said, look, I'm going to take better care of your customers than you. And that's how I grew my business, by marketing and networking to real estate agents. It was fantastic. All Day Gaming says, what was the hardest when you were an apprentice having trouble dealing with offsets? All Day Gaming, offsets can be tough. Learn to look at it on paper, learn to do the math and figure it out. Man, it's not that hard. I've got a video on a rolling offset. I think I've got another one on a 45. Watch those and go through them and see if that helps you any. Jacob says, you know what I love about this live chat? What I love is people in the chat are completely different. Some are plumbers, some are HVAC. Absolutely. Kel says, one HVAC said 50 years ago, charged $260 to install a gas water heater tank. Now $1,800. Don't know what brand, but that's total now in Ohio. Son took over business of 71 years, and the dad passed. Kel, all I tell you is water heater prices have probably doubled in the last 2 years. Everything is getting more expensive, including labor. It's harder for us to find people, so we've got to pay the good people more money to get them. Guys, that's why I'm recruiting into the trades each and every day. It's something we need bad. Paul said, just put a new toilet in my master, and I'm pretty good with water sprinklers and such. Good deal, brother. Good deal. Justice for All says, I had an old drywall painter teach me a lot, but as a plumber, I always send any repair work to the drywall experts, even though I could do it. Yeah, even things I think I can do, I still send to somebody else. Jacob, we're going to call our podcast The Trade Talks. We've already got another YouTube channel going to start it and get it moving on that way. 10-4 there. Taking a break from giving people advice. Want to ask you, what was your longest plumbing job ever? Probably the union. You get long-term commercial jobs, so big stuff there. So what do y'all do? Number one, how many of y'all have your own business? If you have a business, do me a favor and just put in the comments, #me. I know Paul works for himself. And again, guys, you want to see a great YouTube channel, go over there and check out Paul Peck Drywall Tube. Man, good stuff. And there's so much to learn. And me as a plumber, I used to be back whenever I worked commercial work. And I remember being on a job at Austin. There was a leak in a shaft, and the drywallers just kept saying, you open it up. It's like, man, look, if you'll just cut me a hole, I want you to do it where you can come patch it back up. He's like, no, you make your own hole. So, okay. So I hollered at my apprentice, said, hey, go get my sheetrock tool. He brought back a sharpshooter. It's what we used. Drywaller saw it and he said, look, I'll cut it. Give me just a minute. So it worked out good. So David's got his own company, Justice for All. Matthew says, how often you call out fees applied, or do you negotiate with the customer? And I don't, because Matthew, number one, I tell them we don't have our prices set where there's anything for me to discount. There's not that much profit in them. And as for service fees, we don't discount them. We don't give them away. You install them for a reason. The only thing we did give away one time is a TFS, truck fuel supplies, meaning gas has gone up. This covers your acetylene, solder, stuff like that you normally don't work into prices. Floor savers. To me, the big deal is you've got to communicate with your customers. We let them know up front. By the way, we do have a service fee, That way we get a licensed, drug tested, background checked plumber out there to look at and assess your problem and tell you what's wrong. Now, this price does not include any tools, so they're not going to open anything up or fix anything, but they'll get out there and they'll be able to give you an assessment. Now, in case something does need to be opened up, we need to crawl around under the house, we need to get in to a wall, we need to do things like this. At that point, they'll give you a diagnosis fee or a diagnosis fee. And as long as you communicate with your customers up front about stuff like that, man, normally you're pretty good. So to me, the best way to grow a trades business, and y'all heard me talk about the SEO guy a while ago. Most SEO people, and this is why I started learning social media. I got tired of getting ripped off by SEO people. We had spent $47,000 and our phone stopped ringing. Now we had spent it with different people, but every time you go to somebody new, they're like, "Oh, we need to rebuild your page. We need to re-SEO it." It's like, wait, that person did all that. This person did all that. Every time you go to somebody new, they want to rebuild everything in their way and do what they think. But you know what? If they're going to own it, you got to give them that leeway. But we had spent $47,000 and it sucked because literally I was at a conference in New Orleans for plumbing. I'm down there and my CSR, my call service representative called me up and says, "Hey, look, we got a problem. The phones aren't ringing." I said, "Man, I thought you turned off forwarding or something because I know mine isn't ringing." She says, "No, they're not ringing at the office." She said, "They hadn't rang for like 2 days." I tried calling that marketing company and this guy literally goes to me and he goes to me for 2 months after I'd given him, God, $5,000 to get started doing something. He goes to me and I mean, would not answer the call, would not do anything. So I stalked him through social media, found out where his wife was going to be performing and sent him a text message. I said, "Hey," well, I almost said something I can't say. I texted him a message, said, "Hey, I'll see you here." Dude, call me back immediately. Says, "Don't threaten me." I said, "I'm not, but you're a businessman. Grow a pair and answer your phone. What you're doing is not working." And it wasn't good. That dude ended up said, "Look, I'll give you your money back." Most of them aren't like that. Jacob says, "You think this is cute? Have a parakeet bird named Bill. Loves Charlie Brown." That is cool. All right. So we got some company owners in here. I love that name. Matthew says, "How often you call out fees?" Yeah. Oh, I guess didn't go all the way down. Sorry about that. The drain doctor. Now that's a good one. I like that. Michael Sovereign says, "I'm trying to understand. I got quotes for a humidifier on my furnace. One company came in at half of another company. Both companies have solid reviews and are legit." Michael, here's the thing is I would compare equipment, ask them how they are planning on tying in, where they're playing or where they're tying in at. Uh, then again, it just may be the price and what they charge for labor. Here's the thing. If company A has plumbers that aren't trained very well, they don't always do things right, they take shortcuts, they don't have insurance, they're not going to get a permit, they're not going to get it licensed, they may mess something up. What do you think? Uh, Company B comes in and does things right. They do everything. They look at everything, they verify it, they check, they double check, they test it, they double test it, they pull permits, they get it inspected, they use the better product, they don't use a cheaper knockoff version. Which one do you want? Like I said, look, we're not the cheapest in town. I've always, when I grew up, and y'all can tell me, do you want to be the cheapest plumber in town or whatever trade you're in? Do you want to be the cheapest in town or do you want to be the best in town? Because if you're the best, you cannot sacrifice on quality, on materials, on labor, on speed, on time. You have to keep it all right. That's what being the best is. Now, you can be the cheapest and say, "Hey, look, I'm using a rubber hose instead of a copper line. Hey, I'm using a knockoff brand instead of the real thing." Man, plumbers do it all the time. Marty says, "Mr. Drywall saw a 2-pound hammer." Yeah, even take out plaster. Jacob says, "Roger would love to stay on longer, have things to do. Have a great day, Jacob." Uh, Taste a bag, have 2 employees, and you're right. All the money gets to them and taxes. So if you have 2 employees, you need to get 1 more. That way you've got 3 out in the field. That will support 1 in the office. And man, if you can try to keep your growth based on that, it's huge. Like Sarvin says, one company had a salesman come over to quote, the other just sent the plumber and quoted me on the phone. And see, I don't like, well, you said they sent the plumber. I don't like doing phone quotes. People call the office a lot and say, "Hey, how much will y'all charge to come do this?" Well, we can't tell you that. We need to get out and see it. Justice for All says, "I charge a service call to come look at a job. Then if they accept my bid, it comes off the total bid price. Helps slow down the ones looking for the cheapest bid and gives me good customers." And Justice, look, I get that. I think when you charge a service fee, though, that is paying for your time to go out there. I don't believe in taking it off the job. I don't mean that bad, but look, the job costs what it costs. We don't put extra money to cover for my time to go out there to bid it. If you do that, you're going to lose a lot, or you're going to have to put in twice as much for that to cover the ones you didn't get. That's why to me, a service call, man, it's enough to get you out there, get you in the house, let you look at it, and then give you the opportunity to sell the value of what you do. Gene says, "I looked at your reviews on Google. People are claiming you're charging too much for inspections only." And Gene, look, they're allowed to claim that. I know what it costs me. Look, we've got $100,000 vehicles. By the time they're fully stocked, I've got the best plumbers, the best HVAC techs in town. If you want somebody cheaper, call somebody cheaper. You get what you pay for. We're going to come out and do the job right. And to me, that's what it's about. Now, when you're talking for inspections, I don't know what you mean by an inspection. An inspection means we're coming out there to work. An inspection to me, sewer water test, that's an inspection. I'm inspecting the sewer line and water line. And here's the deal, Gene, look, it's supply and demand. You don't have to use me. I've got some customers that see my video that I've done about, look, I'm not the cheapest guy in town. We're the best. And he says, "That's why I called you. I don't want the cheapest guy in town." What does your market get to do those things? And I don't know what review you're reading that says we're charging too much for inspections, but an inspection to get out, by the time I get a licensed plumber, most of them have apprentices with them, get that van out there. I've got an hour, maybe an hour and a half tied up in your job just to come out there to look at it. That's to come in and evaluate it and do that. Do you think me as the plumbing company owner should pay for that? My guy came to your house, looked at your problem, and you think I should cover all that? I'm just asking. France 2, Denmark 1. $200 for an inspection? Seriously? Like I said, I don't know what you're reading, so I don't know what inspection you're talking about. We don't charge $200 for a service call, though. So there's more than just an inspection at that cost. Justice for All, who are you talking about, Roger or me? Maybe talking about both of us. Texas Green Plumbing overcharges for simple inspections. Okay, you can say I overcharge, but I know what my costs are. I know what it cost me for that plumber. I know what it cost me for that vehicle. Do you do it for free? Should I send somebody out to your house to look at your problem, to open something up, to do something? Because at $200, that's not just showing up. That's not just the service call. So, man, like I said, I don't know which one you're reading, so I can't tell you. But I'll tell you, I'm not the cheapest guy in town. I want to be the best. If they don't like that, they can call the cheapest. I'll come back and fix it later. Spubini says, "I join in immediately hearing exactly what I expected. How much fixed cost?" Yeah. David Matson says, I like to educate my customers when I go under homes or attics. I don't just look for plumbing related issues. I look at everything as I know my customers don't go under their homes. I get plenty of photos and videos for them. Then I gather photos afterwards or to show our work. And look, I love that. And I say that, David, because it's the same thing. When we go in, our goal is to help the customer take care of their house, not just the plumbing, not just the HVAC. If we see electrical problems, they're like, hey, I just wanted to point out that you have a problem over here. So, man, I'm right there with you. Parker you says, if you aren't having anyone complaining about your prices, you're too cheap. I agree there. It's interesting to see how a lot of cheap plumbers out there end up using shark bite fittings on everything. And look, we go out and fix a lot of shark bite fittings that the other plumber used. But I will tell you this, man, I don't know if you see my videos on quick fitting, but I've been impressed by them. How long has Texas Grain had an HVAC department? Spoobini, here's the deal. We got bought by Rescue Air, and not just bought, we joined forces. They bought me out, but I'm part owner now. And we did that just over a year ago. Matter of fact, it was November 11th last year. Gene Frank says, interesting. Look, it is interesting, but here's the deal. We're all different. I remember when I first started my plumbing company, one of the union reps came down and was talking about another plumbing company up in Kansas City. So the average hourly rate for Kansas City was $150 an hour. So there's a guy up there charging $650 an hour, and he's busy all day long, and he's got 3 or 4 plumbers that work for him. He said they come in and it's almost like a black tie service. They come in, they take care of everything. They put down the carpets to walk on. They wear floor savers. They show up in one shirt, they work in another, they change back to the other shirt. And it's all about how far above and beyond do you go. Some people buy Mercedes, some people buy Hyundai, whichever one's right for you. So, if Jean, if you want the Hyundai, man, that's your choice. The Mercedes costs more. Some people pay for it and never complain about it. Some people say, oh my God, I went and looked at one, they were too high. Know your customer and know what you're getting for your money. Vinny says, actually getting pissed off with this message, man. Do you guys not understand what goes into an inspection? And Spoobini, a lot of people don't. They think, well, look, you're just coming out. Just come out and tell me how much it costs to fix it. Well, for me to just come out, I've got to pay a plumber, an apprentice, the vehicle, the gas, the fuel, the wear and tear on it. And that vehicle's got about $100,000 worth of materials in it that they can normally fix whatever problem is there. So you're right. And the upkeep. Favini, don't get mad, brother. You're good. But look, these are great conversations because there are people like Gene here that thinks, hey, people say you're charging too much. Okay. There are some people that say we should charge more for the service that we provide. Some of our customers love us and they're like, oh my God, I cannot believe I got all this for this price. Thank you so much. I thought it was going to be a lot more. Everybody's different. Parker, you and exactly. Have you ever met a plumber from a communist country? Yeah, I've actually worked with a Russian plumber before. Marissa Dogwood says, you know your cost. Yeah, that's that. I charge what I charge. Don't charge what everyone else does. Marissa, look, this may be look, I'm going to pin that. That may be the best comment of the day. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell this story because I remember this sign being on a wall on a laundry when I was in high school. Guys, I graduated 40 years ago. So probably 42, 43 years ago, I saw a sign that I still remember today. And it says, our competition may charge less. Only they know the true value of the service and the work that they're providing. You think about that for a minute because I understand what my costs are. I have the best plumbers. I pay more for them. We have nice branded, well logoed vehicles. I pay more for that. I have great insurance. We put our people through training. We have the best equipment. We use the best product. If you want the best, you're going to pay for it. If you don't, you're going to get what you pay for, but it's good. Spoobini, thank you for the super chat again. Says, as the old saying goes, if you think a good repair is expensive, just wait till how much a bad repair would cost. Yeah. Good help isn't cheap, and cheap help isn't good. Justice for all says, Roger, you're correct. But when I figure a bid, it is adjusted for my time to go out and inspect the job before I have to give a bid. Okay. It's a way to keep your good customers and still make what you should. And look, I don't disagree with that, Justice. But here's my thought on it. If we have a service fee, that service fee is to get us out there to look at it. I don't have to discount that. And look, we can all do it different. You've got your way, brother. It works for you. I'm happy for you. We don't give ours back. We don't say, hey, I'll knock this off the job if we get it. You paid for my time to come out here today to do what I did today. I have a license. Matter of fact, I have several licenses in Texas. I'm well worth what we're charging to come out and do this inspection, to do this visual inspection. And we don't charge $200, but I'm well worth coming out and looking at it and giving you the best opportunity to fix your problem. And that, to me, that's what it's all about. Eli says, Roger, the property management company that I worked for called a plumber out to fix a fitting in the concrete due to a nail being in it when sheetrocking. The plumber asked me how to fix the nailed fitting. Man, I hope you fixed it for him and charged him for it. ISG double XL, hello, how are you? Companies that allow that amount time for the technician is scarce, though. And, here's the deal. Spoobini, we tell our technicians that when they go out, they're supposed to do a 360-degree inspection. They're supposed to look at everything, not just the problem. You don't just walk in and look at, oh, yep, you got a drip under the sink. It's going to cost you $500. They're supposed to go in and check everything, because the thing is, you want to be able to tell people, hey, you've got a water heater in your attic that's 20 years old. I did that. I went out to do a laundry room remodel. Went out to give the lady a price first, did the whole house inspection. Said, oh, by the way, you've got a water heater in your attic. We talked about that a while ago. 15 years old. You might want to think about changing it. She says, you know what? I'm going to wait. I really want the laundry room moved so I can have a bigger closet. She called me 3 days later and said, I wish I'd have listened to you. The water heater ruptured. Her ceiling is now in her floor. It's two stories ceiling in her floor. And she says, I wish I would have listened. Man, it happens. But she wouldn't have even known it had I not done a whole house inspection. You've got to come in and explain the value of what you sell. It's not just, hey, I looked at it. It's $500. Yes or no. Thank you. Bye. Build a relationship with people while you're there. John Moore says, do you think some states are too strict with licensing? I'm in Wisconsin. It requires an apprentice at least 4 years, 8,000 hours for journeyman, then 1,000 for 3 years for master. John, here's my thing. I don't think they're too strict. For the most part, I think we need to make it easier for people to get in and easier for people to get that first license. Texas has a tradesman license that is 4,000 hours. And what that is they can work on single family and 2 family dwellings. So they can work on a house or a duplex, not an apartment, nothing multifamily, anything at all like that. No, Spoobini, I know you are, man. I think that we're right. Spoobini, you probably have to go. I don't know if you've got to be on. It is on Facebook too, and all the messages I thought should come up right here. No, I know you're on my side. Or you've got your thought and I've got mine. We're thinking about the same way. The cool thing is, man, look, we've all got the chance to do things our way. I can run my plumbing company and set my prices at whatever I want. Spoobini, you can run yours and set it that you want. Justice, you can give the service fee back if you want to. We've all got to do what we're comfortable with, what we think is the best thing for us, our company, and like we talked about earlier, the families that work there, because each and every one of these families are depending on you to keep the doors open, to pay the bills, to pay their check, and make the world a better place. And that's what we're all trying to do. I love it. And yes, it is on live stream too. I've heard that one before. It's man, it works. Just asking about the strict licensing because it's really the only thing deterring me from becoming a plumber. Seems like a big commitment. Feel like it deters people from entering the trade, John, and it probably does deter a lot of people. Well, here's my thought: you can get in the trade right here in Dallas right now and start out at about, I'm going to say $35,000 to $40,000 a year. It's not a lot of money. I get it. It's not enough to raise a family, buy a house, things like that. But that 35 to 40 is going to be 80 to 100 in 5 years. I've got plumbers in the Dallas area that make over 200 grand. I've got plumbers, a couple that probably make over 300 grand. You can turn this into whatever you want to turn it into. John, what the way that I sell this, I'm showing you a career path that can take you to owning your own business one day, to creating a legacy, building a company where you can treat your family however you want to treat them. You can take them on vacation every week if you want to. That's what this is. It's an opportunity to change your world completely. Marissa says, yes, truth. Yes, ma'am. Justice says, John Moore, the training in the trades is set up that way to help get better tradesmen out there, and they know what they're doing. And look, I know plumbing companies around the country that are sending apprentices out because there's not enough people getting in the trades. They've got an apprentice that is good, and they're like, you know what? If I get a fine, I'll pay it, but I need somebody to go take care of my customers. If you're training your apprentices to where they can go out and take care of your customers and do it right, I've seen it happen. Michael Sovereign says, how do you convince another business, government, or industry not to go with the lowest bidder? Michael, you've got to sell the value. And I always tell people, I don't know what they're not doing, or I don't know what kind of products they're using to get their price that low. I can't do it. And it goes back what we talked about a while ago. I think it was Marissa said, look, you've got to know your price. You've got to know what it costs you to do business. I feel sorry for people when they get into their own business and they're like, well, I called every plumbing company in town and they're priced at $150 to $300 an hour. I'm charging $145. I'm going to be the lowest plumber in town. It's like, dude, why would you want to be the cheapest plumber in town? Again, I go back to my question. Do you want to be the cheapest in town or do you want to be the best in town? And here's the thing. That person who's charging 150 may be going out of business. That person charging 300 may be going out of business. If you don't know how to look at your numbers, which we talked about earlier, you may not be in business long enough to even really go out of business. You may not even get started good. Spoobini says service fee always has to be set. That's the value in knowing. And Michael, I go back to it. You've got to sell your value in each and everything. And it may start with the way you show up and you put floor savers on where the other plumber didn't. Do you sit down and explain everything? Hey, let me go over my estimate with you. And I want to tell you why we put this in, Here's why we recommend this, and here's why we use the brand we use. If you'll show up with an introduction like, hey, have you ever used us before? You haven't? Do you mind if I take just a moment and let me tell you why I got into plumbing, why I came to work at Texas Green Plumbing, and why I'm still here? Well, look, I got into plumbing because one of my best friends growing up, his father and his 3 older brothers were plumbers, and he talked about how much they loved it. So when I started looking for a job, I got in touch with one of them, and he got me in plumbing. And you know what? I see why they love it, because I love it too. I came to work at Texas Green Plumbing because of the way that they take care of the people, and they're green. They focus on water conservation. And to me, that's really a big deal. I want to look at how we can help our customers conserve water. And I've stayed here because of the warranties that we have and the training we have. Roger goes above and beyond to make sure we are the best trained plumbers in the area. And the warranties that we have are better than anybody else's. So don't you think a company like that, if somebody believes in us like that, don't you think we're going to do the right thing for you today? And you show up with an introduction like that, you've already done what no other plumber, electrician, roofer, HVAC tech is walking in and doing. You've built credibility from the moment you walked in the house. And if you'll learn to do that, dude, then it's not about price. It's about, you know what? I really like that guy. That's who I want to do my work. It's not always about price. It's about value. Remember the Mercedes? Remember the Hyundai? Which do you want? Do you want the best value, or do you just like, look, I just want the cheapest? I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. But also it costs so much, uh, stupid more for materials than just the last 2 years. Things have gotten more expensive. Guys, if you have not raised your prices in the last 2 years, you're going out of business. You're losing money. Uh, your prices should probably be 40% more than what they were 2 years ago. And I know that customers don't want to hear that, but that's the way it is. Steve Dobie, if you have a problem with it, fix it yourself. And look, and I tell people that all the time. Hey guys, I've got videos teaching you how to fix your own plumbing. And then it's funny because then whenever I make a video about the shark bites leaking, people say he just doesn't want people to fix their own plumbing. It's like, dude, I put up 1,000 videos teaching people how to fix stuff. Do you really think that I don't want them to fix it? I'm showing them the right way to do it. Gene says you're the elite of the elite. That's why you charge so much. And Gene, I'm not saying that we charge so much. I do say we charge more than some other companies. We're still not the most expensive plumbing company in town, but we know our value. We know what we bring to the table. We know what we do that other people don't do. And there's a price for that. Taste of Bags says staying small is expensive, but would I stand a better chance doing service calls as opposed to new homes, in your opinion? Taste of Bag, here's my thing. I think if you are opening up, if you're a one-man company doing service, you can make 300 grand a year. You could actually probably make 500,000 a year because it's just you. There's no overhead. You can run it out of your van, out of your house, answer your phone out of your truck, whatever it is. The thing is, man, when you go to building houses, uh, you're going to wait 30, 60, or 90 days to get paid. There's a lot more work involved, a lot more for you to carry, meaning you're going to buy all that material and invest it in that house for 90 days until you get paid for it. I love residential service. Gene Frank, do you not think you get what you pay for? I think if you give great service, you go above and beyond and you do things other people aren't. What are you doing different than everybody else? What are your differentiators? Some people call me for hours. So yeah, water heaters in the attic, I don't like them. Oh, it jumped on me. Unconditioned space, and you're right. Uh, Chris is around what percentage you expect to pay in taxes? Man, probably, God, I'd at least put up 40% and hope that I have a good CPA that can get me down from there. And here's the thing, too, and I know I'm going longer than I said I was going to go. Chris, one thing you need to remember, anybody starting out, get you an envelope, get you a brown envelope or even a white envelope. I was thinking a big brown one or a little white one. Every time you buy anything, put that receipt in there and mark what job it was for, your name. When you buy anything, get to the point. If you go to the store to buy bubble gum, save the receipt and write on it. Because if you get to throwing away that receipt, you'll throw away others. One of the most important things you can do is save your receipts, document them by the week, by the month, because you're going to have to give all that to a CPA or an accountant. And that's what's going to help save you money. Aldous says, I've heard a lot of plumbers don't do backflow testing. Seems like a fairly simple way to make $150 or $200. Aldrich, here's what I'll tell you. Here in the Dallas area, they were charging $75. It was taking about an hour when a plumbing company can charge 250 to $550 an hour. Why do jobs where people are competing for it at $75 an hour? Ubini, thank you again for the super chat. It says, I agree and disagree. I would tell clients straight what the problem is, what the price is, and what can happen. I don't care if they trust me or not. And see, I want them to trust me. I want to build that relationship. I want them to understand they called the right person. I want them to understand that, because here's the deal. If they don't trust me, they may let me fix it, but they're probably not going to call me again, even if I did it right. A lot of the work that we do is under the slab. It's not stuff they've seen. It's in a wall. It's in an attic. This is not something they see every day. My best friend that I told y'all earlier opened his own company and has had it for, God, probably 40 years now. Not quite 35. Literally, he does not do slab leaks and leak detection. He says it's under the house. They never see it. They're not happy. You just fixed something that they didn't even know they had a problem with. He says, I want to change a toilet. I want to change a faucet. I want to take a drip that's happening and make it stop. I want them to see what we do. So, Spavini, thank you very much. But I want them to trust me. Jimbo, you're right there. Your reputation and experience is also worth money. Spavini says it's why I'm transitioning to commercial. And Spavini, that's a great thing because look, there's some people that they don't want to deal with the customer. They don't want to have that face-to-face, that conversation every time they walk in a house. They just want to go to work and be a plumber every day. And man, God bless them. I think it's amazing that there are people, look, man, I just want to show up and work and do this and do this and do this. Man, that's what built America. The hard workers coming out. Look, I just want to do the job. Some of us love going in and communicating and talking and knowing, look, I'm taking good care of this customer. So, man, you're right. We're all different. We can all do business different ways. Brother, I think that's phenomenal. RoboSeal, interesting. Man, it's always interesting. Spubini says messages are just a bit behind. Is all if you're taking messages from 2 live streams. Checks out. No, I'm on one live stream, but yeah, I'm 14 minutes behind. And see, I was supposed to shut down 14 minutes ago. Jacob says, thanks, I've done an amazing job. You want people to be the best on your side, always will. Thanks, you brother. Roger makes the world better. Thank you. Got a Russian bot here. Here's an example. Every time I get a load for my truck, it's shipper, but the load's canceled or not ready. $150 truck order not used. Man, that's rough. Licensing versus college, man, you're on it right there. I think the trades are even a better option. Eli Rolehu, I live in Washington State. Don't know how a property management company can get away with not using a licensed plumber, electrician, stuff like that, because it's private property and there's a loophole right in Texas. Maintenance men are allowed to work on the plumbing for an apartment complex and stuff. If you own the building, you can hire a maintenance man to do that. Brown boy, California, first step on get my license, get experience, then contact the authority having jurisdiction. Eli says, and is it like that in Texas? Eli, yeah. In Texas, a property manager can have his people work on his property. Justice for All says most plumbers up here fighting with the city's fire department who are offering it 75 fee for the service. We make our money off rebuilding or replacing the backflow devices. Roger, love you, boss man, but I'm gonna set a timer till I see this message. Yeah, I can already tell you, 12 minutes. Tell me if I'm right, because I'm looking at the live stream over here too. That's funny. Okay, I'm gonna try to fly through these guys just because for me to get out of here, that's what I'm gonna have to do. John Moore says, when do you normally do streams and how often? Been watching your videos for 3 weeks. Thanks for answering my other questions. By the way, recently turned 25 and decided I need a career. John, we do these every Saturday unless I'm out of town or something's going on. We used to do them on Mondays. We switched to Saturdays, and I really do enjoy it. Jacob Bowling says, one more thing. Don't try to be the cheapest plumber. Absolutely. Chris says, everything you've said is valuable knowledge that people go to sales conferences to hear if they don't have a friend who owns a business or a mentor. Been through the ups and downs. Look, and that's why we put together all the things we're doing with the coaching, the training, the recruiting, the all of it. People got to learn it. And man, just as tradespeople, we're never taught it. Fernando says, good morning, Roger. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Based out of Cali, would you advise purchasing everything cash or financing? Things like tools and vehicles. I got to tell you, Fernando, I started out buying old vans. I wish I'd have started leasing or buying new ones from the beginning because the time you miss slows you down. If you want something done, you got to do it yourself. Absolutely. Elite of elite will almost never be in residential. Will almost never be. See, I think in residentials where you find the ones that really do care. In commercial, there's so many people there that was tough. Never heard of the fire department. Yeah, I've heard of fire departments doing that too. Kansas. Chris Cannon says you pay for it once, but you have to live with the results. Yeah, I agree. Spoobini, $75 an hour doesn't make it worth it. Paul says federal taxes 30% in Florida. Taste bag, work with new houses. Honestly, if I were on my own, could handle doing 2 small bathroom houses easily since I run underneath myself. There you go. Just says seems to be the norm with the feds. Spanu says check your inbox. I've got several of them. Lee says, what's the perfect apprentice book? Boy, just I like the UPC study guide. I think is phenomenal. I've got a link to it in one of my videos, maybe this one, maybe in the comments. I had 17. Yeah, tuber turds. I love it. Didn't know how stream was supposed to end. Big props. Thank you. Yeah, I was supposed to shut down 20 minutes ago now. But I'm getting caught up on my comments, so I'm trying to hit the bottom. Michael, thank you. You have a great day. Eli says, Roger, you're the GOAT. Thank you very much. Ubini, just steel fans is much cheaper, boy, and that's the truth. Derek Crumley says, Washington State is changing it. Property management are supposed to subcontract licensed contractors, get business license to hire them. Changing plumbing license too. And I love that because I've got friends that are in PHCC up in Washington State. They're on the board. They help do a lot of things up there. Some great people. Paul Peck says, how would Roger not be behind on comments when he's answering each question in depth? Paul, brother, I'm trying, but if you notice, I just got caught up. Guys, I'm going to answer these last two and then I'm done. Work on an apartment complex in Texas. They actually prefer me to call a plumber. And they should. And Spoon Nick says, I wish all the best, Roger. You are the best. Thank you very much. Guys, here's the deal. I love what I get to do. I get to talk plumbing each and every day, really. But man, this is an amazing trade, not just plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, drywall, so many different things. We should all be recruiting into the trades. We need more people. And that's, to me, what a lot of this is about. But also showing people there's a way to move up. You get in the trades, you become a great tradesman, you learn to open your own company the right way, and then you learn to grow it. That's what I'm trying to help people do. Anyway, guys, happy Thanksgiving to y'all. I'm getting ready to get out of here. I hope, I'm on TikTok too, man. So thank you very much. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. If so, I will be here next Saturday. Matter of fact, next Saturday I'm here and then I'm heading out of town to teach people how to do YouTube. Kind of neat. And Jimbo, you're right. You'll never be out of work in the trades. Guys, thank y'all very much. Love it. Again, happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Get ready. We are headed for the Christmas holiday season. Y'all have fun, and I'll see y'all soon. I'm Roger Wakefield, lead AP, helping you make more money in the trades.